welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage, and at the request of Patreon subscriber Gobi, this is Turbo Frog. Not to be confused with Turbo Fog, which is a different deck from a different format. The naming Turbo Frog here comes from Turbo Vault Key, which is currently a supported Vintage archetype in the metagame. Oswald Fiddlebender is your guy who moves artifacts around until you have Time Vault and Voltaic Key, or Manifold Key. I'm a Magic boomer. I'm going to call this Voltaic Key every time. But Vault Key is what we're trying to do with that part of the deck. But then there's also Psychic Frog. Generally blue-white, or at least a lighter black splash just for the busted tutors, is what this deck is doing, the Turbo Vault Key deck. Gobi's got Psychic Frog in here too. This is another game plan. It's something else your opponent has to think about. It's creature removal they have to leave in the deck. Can't really just let it go. Also just beats the crap out of your opponent if they play a Null Rod. Just a little juke here. Still a Lurrus deck, all the permanents cost 2 or less. 4 copies of Lurrus Saga, of course, that is another core engine here. Lots of interesting stuff to talk about in the mana base, though. We've got 4 Mana Confluence and 2 Glimmer Void. We are not messing around with fetch lands or dual lands. There's no copies of Lurrus revealed, which is a format staple these days to tie mana bases together. Gobi just wants a huge number of 5-color lands, and the Glimmer Void, supported by basically every possible piece of artifact mana you can reasonably play, including 3 copies of Mox Opal, a card that fluctuates between 0 and 4. I mean, I guess those are all the normal numbers, but normally 0, sometimes 1. It's a really dedicated combo deck that plays more than 1 Mox Opal, and Gobi's got 3 of them in here, which also supports Paradoxical Outcome, which makes sense with this many mana rocks. We've got Oswald reaching for Vault Key. We've got Psychic Frog presenting a combat threat. We've got Paradoxical Outcome that could just draw through your deck. And we got Lurrus Saga cranking out in the background. All of this potentially protected by Vexing Bauble. There's 2 of those in here too. And Lurrus waiting in the weeds. If your opponent stops all that, you can spend 6 mana to get Lurrus going at some point, and then it all happens again. Gobi instructed me to play this with no changes, so I haven't made any changes. 61 card deck in all. This is directly from Gobi per that request. Let's get into it. This is Turbo Frog. I'm on the draw in round 1. Draw's not really where I want to be with this double bauble hand, but I am going to keep this. There are matchups where this will be fine. My opponent did not reveal Lurrus, which immediately rules out a bunch of stuff. Chrome Mox really only in the initiative as far as I know. Unless this is some weird Storm deck. Yep, initiative confirmed. Imagine if I was able to play with this double Vexing Bauble. Holy guacamole. Archon of Emira. Pain in my ass, but I think we'll be okay. Maybe won't be okay at all and we're freaking dead. But I do get to play out Mana Crypt. I can start doing Saga stuff. They have 1 card in hand, depends on what the follow-up is here. Because if the plan was all in on Archon shutting me down, I'm actually fine against that. Moment of truth. Anointed Peacekeeper, that sucks. And I can't force a will because I don't have a blue card. They name Lurrus Saga with this, it costs more to activate, and then my whole hand falls apart. They did, in fact, name Lurrus Saga, to the surprise of no one. On the flip, good job me. Time Walk with no blue source. If I play Vexing Bauble and play Tapped Academy, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana next turn to make a construct with. Alright, let's do it. It's as good as it's going to get. And Academy also casts Time Walk if I need it to do that, which I probably will. Let's see where this goes. That Time Walk was actually a huge draw. Taking 5 in combat, down to 13. No additional lock pieces, no wasteland. Alright, Ancient Tomb, good news. I can't afford to sack the Vexing Bauble because I need the artifacts. Lost the flip, down to 10. Demonic Tutor, okay. It costs me all of my mana to make a construct, but I can tutor for Black Lotus, which could cast Time Walk. Like I could play Urza Saga, Time Walk. Is there a line to vault key here? And the Archon makes it really hard. I could tutor the key, but I have no black mana for Demonic Tutor. There's not a Tinker in my deck to get rid of this Mana Crypt. I mean, Paradoxical Outcome could get things going. There's no main deck removal that hits Archon. Yeah, I have these 2 portable hulls, but they cast 2 3-drops. Oh, Balance is in my deck. Okay, hold on. Is there a line to Balance? Having the kind of mono-colorless start here has been difficult on my development, which obviously Gobi was aware of by putting a bunch of 5-color lands in the deck. Okay, so my construct would be 3/3 on arrival, 4/4 on tutor. I can time walk into... Yeah, I am going to make a construct. I feel like I need to challenge the board to win this game from this position. And unfortunately, I think Black Lotus is my only option here. Lotus, Time Walk, play Saga. Lotus, walk, get this Saga in, and then hope Mana Crypt is kind to me as the game progresses. Even if I take control of the board, if my life total is bad, it doesn't matter. Okay, Saga's back up to 2. Paradoxical Outcome was a card I mentioned as potentially useful. I don't even think that's true anymore. I could sack my Vexing Bauble, draw a card to force something if necessary. Right now, I'm just going to attack for 3, and I can make an additional construct. Do I need to leave up force, or do I just want to push more damage? I guess I'm just going to push more damage. Oh, I have an extra... Forgot I have an extra artifact now. Does that do anything? Does that matter? It does. I should have played Vexing Bauble before combat. Okay, mistakes were made. I'm not going to compound the mistake by pretending I didn't make it, though. I'm going to play Vexing Bauble. I just missed 2 damage. Hopefully that doesn't burn me. Obviously it's bad, though. Okay, I have a 5/5 in play. Not really how I wanted them to be there, but here we go. I could have also used that floating mana to draw a card off Bauble, but I think having just biggest creatures right now is my best chance to win. Can't block a flyer. Let's hope they keep not drawing spells. Peacekeeper, you son of a biscuit. Okay, so this will probably name Saga again, but now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could still Saga here. This hasn't actually turned off Saga, because Tolarian Academy is a broken Magic card. They could name Bauble just so I can't cash those in for cards. They could name Demonic Tutor to make sure they don't just die to a black source. Haywire Might can block and just gain life, which might be necessary here. I'm just thinking about how to get over the finish line without getting cheesed if my Mana Crypt is as ungenerous as possible. They're still thinking about this Peacekeeper. Tough call. This might be the last decision they make this game. They did name Urza Saga again. Hey, Mana Crypt, take it easy on me. You've been generous so far. Okay, I won 3 out of 4 flips. That goes a long way. 5, 6, 7. It costs 6 to activate this, so I could do this with a blue floating. Oh, I did not adjust to Mana Confluence. I think I could have taken infinite turns here. My bad. I'm just playing great right now. I'll try to tighten up before the rest. Okay, so I could get... Or no, I would have to cast multiple spells. The Archon of Emir is stopping the DT line. Okay, I feel less bad now. I think I'm just going to get Haywire Might, because that can be activated. Or no, it can't, because Mana Confluence is tapped. Good stuff. I'm just going to put them in a spot where they have to start blocking. They go to 3, not interested in blocking. They can't pitch cast Solitude, but they do have the mana to hard cast 1. If they hit me for 2 and I lose the crypt flip, I'm still not dead. Cool. All right. A little sloppy on the execution there, but still just stomped on white initiative. Source of Plowshares definitely come in. Just knocking out one of those lock pieces would have made that game trivial, and it was already like pretty straightforward. I'm on the draw. I don't think I want Vexing Bauble at all on the draw. On the play, we could see how it would be sick, but no thanks here. Portable Hole did not answer anything in the main deck. They do play a bunch of Null Rods and stuff like Kataki potentially in the sideboard, so I am going to leave the holes alone. Giggity. I need 2 more cuts here. Generally, I'm into cutting Mox Opal. in any matchup that's not just about raw speed. And this one's not just about raw speed. As we saw, we can work through some of their stuff. Mindbreak Trap can be solid because if they have like Mox creature, we're already in the trap zone. Force of Negation, I'm not really interested in. Brain Freeze, interesting, including the sideboard. I assume that's for Doomsday and nobody else. I guess maybe you could set up Yogwell lines, but just getting Doomsday's deck dead after they make a Doomsday pile is pretty strong. Okay, doing one more look here. Don't really need Gataxi Probe, don't really need Mental Misstep. That's worse than Probe for sure. The Spell Pierce is unlikely to find targets on the draw. I actually have a lot I could still cut here if I think there's more to bring in. Perks can clear a Null Rod and break their mana. Like you get one spell this game. I just don't think Spell Pierce is going to do much. Perks can also help you storm out. Containment Priest could stop the Throne of the Dead 3, which is the final room of the initiative. Just hope that doesn't come up. All right, I'm going to hit submit like this. Okay, I do have the Mindbreak Trap in my hand. I hope it's good, because my hand would really rather not play through a lock piece. They revealed Chancellor on a Malta 6, which means there's 5 potentially functional cards in their hand, but that also does beat my Mindbreak Trap. Oh dear. Well, I'm gonna wish I had this Mindbreak Trap, because it was on. Vexing Bauble. So do I think getting Mindbreak Trap up to 4 mana is gonna happen? Like I could just break the Chancellor bubble now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. They got 1 card left in their hand, and if it's an initiative creature, their hand was actually really good. Just a double protected turn 1 initiative donkey. Okay, it's not an initiative donkey, and they had to use their Black Lotus to do that. I have drawn back-to-back 0-cost cards, though. I want to get Saga going because I don't want to lose life every time I tap mana, and when this tutors Black Lotus, eventually I could do stuff. Or not. Okay. Those are all of the cards in their hand. Mana Confluence, go. And the sick part about this, though, is Oswald could still just take over this game and assemble Vault Key before it matters. Archon is a really good card, though, against this strategy. But it took Archon and Bauble to get through this, because I would actually have a bunch of extra permanents in play at this point without the Bauble. Yeah, they got me in a tight little squeeze here, and I just gotta hope they don't draw well for a while. I love a land. Something's happening in my upkeep. March of Otherworldly Light. Smoking my Soul Ring. Yep, sure, that's gone. I said I wanted a land. That one is a little risky, but I do have Sensei's Top. I could play through the Bauble. Glimmer Void, get in. And if I just put Psychic Frog in front of this Archon of Emeria, suddenly we have a whole ass different plan. And now my life is low enough that I think I want to do that. Oh no, not this jerk. Okay. They use their whole hand on turn 1 to play Archon of Emeria, and then perfect way to reduce my mana, perfect way to reduce my mana, perfect way to reduce my mana. 3 in a row. But I do have both Oswald and Frog. I think they have to name Frog, though. Oswald might not have time to do his thing here. It'd be sick if they just named Sensei's Top. Yep, Psychic Frog named. Swords to Plowshare is drawn. Okay, we're back in this. I'm just gonna plow the one that was keeping Psychic Frog down, because Frog can beat Archon. And Frog converts all these frozen Moxland into real relevant game pieces. Vexing Bauble. They could redraw with one of these. They don't need 2 in play. There it goes. Okay, I think I should spin the top at the cost of a life. I think it's worth doing. Balance is a sicko. That would cost me so many cards in my hand, though. Balance will be my backup if they answer Psychic Frog. But this Frog's going to be good. It's bigger than Archon, it hits harder, and it digs out of this hole we're in. They are attacking. I'm going to jump the Frog. Block. If they have a Swords of Plowshares, they're just going to get 3 cards off me here. But those cards don't do anything anyway. They can't Solitude, though, because of their own Bauble. But they can draw a card and then play Solitude. Something's happening. Okay, March of Otherworldly Light. They could have gotten an extra card off me here. That was an interesting timing, but sure. Yeah, that's gone. Now I can balance. I will end up losing a land and 2 cards from my hand. I was going to lose the Mox Sapphire to that combat anyway. I think I want to balance leaving Oswald in hand and keeping Glimmer Void. Yeah, that was just a 4-for-1 targeted removal spell. But we do both have 1 card in hand now. Oswald, it's your time to shine, buddy. Take it over. Oh no, there's a Krakus to play. Oswald's never going to do shit. Never mind. Mana Confluence slowly bleeding me to death, but I think I still have to keep spinning this top. Haywire Might, okay. That's a card I can cast. It gains life. It can remove Vexing Bauble. I got options. The problem with Might removing Bauble, though, is that they can draw a card in response. I could just Might the Chrome Mox as a YOLO slam. If they don't play a spell this turn, I might just do that. Wasteland, Jesus. Wasteland Witch Enchanter. Okay, so it actually would have been really good for me to take out the Chrome Mox proactively. And I could zap the Bauble here. And they can't redraw. Okay. The coast is as clear as it's ever going to be, but my hand is now empty. And I'm dying to my own lands. There's Manifold Key. I'm going to look with top. Mana Crypt, Pithing Needle. I could Needle Caracas. I'd be at 4. They attack me for 2. Next turn I play Oswald and then die. Alright, they got me. That was tight. It took basically every card plus insane top decks in a row to get through that, but that's the strength of that deck. It doesn't take much. They just need to do some random shit, and then you eventually lose. Gitaxian Probe and Needle on Caracas, Needle on Wasteland are both useful here. Not convinced they're better than some of this other stuff. Consigned to Memory can counter Null Rod. It can also stop the initiative from being introduced. Yeah, maybe I should be on that. Sensei's top is pretty slow, but I'm worried about these 2 Glimmer Voids in my deck if I don't keep some critical massive artifacts. Maybe Herc's on the play is worse. Am I ever going to be able to cast Yogg-Vill versus this deck? Okay. I'm going to try this. Oh, right. This was a 61 card deck. I get one of these things back. I could add another Opal on the play and focus on speed. I could have a little bit of counterplay. I don't expect Yogg-Vill to do much. And Spell Pierce on the play does hit Null Rod and Chrome Mox, which might matter. All right, yeah, I'll just bring one of those back in. Okay, what does my hand do? It plays out a bunch of mana and Oswald. I'll keep this. The Glimmer Void would let me vamp in my next upkeep. If I hold back the Caracas, I guess I'm worried about losing 2 artifacts, then also a land. What would it take for them to kill 2 artifacts? We've seen March. I don't care if the artifacts are off, as long as I still have Glimmer Void. Yeah, I think I want the vamp online. My plan is Emerald, Soul Ring, Glimmer Void, Oswald. Opponent's on 6. Mox Emerald, Soul Ring, Glimmer Void, Oswald. Okay, I have a bunch of permanents in play. We'll see how many of them still work or how many of them are still there on my next turn. If they don't put up any interaction, which is extremely unlikely because that's what their deck does, I could vamp for Mox Opal and then start outcoming. I'm also... Do I just have a Time Vault here? It's close, right? The opponent introduced the Monarch. Activate Oswald as a sorcery. Lotus Petals in. One of their cards in hand is a Plains. Okay, so it would be vamp for Key, play Key, float 2 mana, play Caracas, turn Ring into Vault. Yeah, okay. I have Vault Key. Manifold Key, draw for turn, Caracas, float. I can only activate Oswald as a sorcery, so I think I should do that first. Time Vault, Manifold Key. Already have a mana floating. We got great in the chat. I mean, I'm a turbo key deck. You're playing vintage. You registered mono white. I don't know what you want from me. Yep, we did it. Cool. Found the line. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 2 against Fire Truck, who is a known Bazaar of Baghdad expert and also has a YouTube channel. Check out Fire Truck Moto. Unless he has cut every dredge creature from his Bazaar deck and Vengevine, I don't think he's playing Bazaar today. I have a hand that relies heavily on this Mox Opal resolving. If Opal gets in, then Academy taps for 1, plays out Manifold Key. Like, we could start doing stuff. I think this is kind of risky, though. How many lands are actually in my deck? Or mana sources, more specifically. So we've got 13 actual lands. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Minus 1 because I'm already holding it. 10. So that's 22 draws. This mana vault's actually good. So 23 draws. I'll keep it. Let's game. If this was a real Mox, it would be much easier, but we are operating on the razor's edge here. Undercity Sewers. So this might be the vintage scam deck, or it might just be a regular ass Dimir Lurrus with that card in it. All right, so let's just draw a 0 mana artifact. That's not Mox Opal. Okay. Mox Opal first. I don't want my opponent to know this is a good thing to Spell Pierce until it's too late. And I think I should play Manifold Key, not Vexing Bauble, because my own deck is full of cards I'd love to draw that cost 0. Most Lurrus decks play Wasteland, fingers crossed. Lurrus Saga's not Wasteland. Okay, just passing it back to me. I like that. And we drew a land. Just had it the whole time. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, blue. Start with Vexing Bauble. This turns on Mox Opal and leaves Spell Pierce available for everything else I'm going to do this turn. Thinking hard about this Bauble, not only does it turn off a whole handful of pitch interaction if that's what my opponent has, but it also turns on Mox Opal and opponent can see that. Okay, we're in. I am just going to DT for Time Vault and put my opponent in check. I have Spell Pierce up. Time Vault in my hand, in check with Spell Pierce and Vexing Bauble protection. Orcish Bowmaster's in the end step. That does not affect me at all. Saga goes up to 2. I'm hoping to have the game won before that does anything. I take 2 damage. Do I want to vamp for another Spell Pierce? Got another Saga. I think there's 2 Spell Pierces main, if I'm remembering the list correctly. There are. Yeah, I'm going to vamp. Just going to get another Pierce. Because that's the counter spell I can cast under Vexing Bauble. And I have 3, 4, 5 mana. 1, 2, plus activate is 3, 4, 5. Exactly enough for 2 Spell Pierces. Time Vault on the stack. Cool. Didn't even need these 2 Spell Pierces. Working too hard. Alright. Opponent is a Lurrus deck featuring Orcish Bowmaster. What does that mean for me? I probably just want to go fast and my main deck is mostly intact here. I could bring in some Swords to Plowshares if I'm worried about pressure. I could bring in some Spell Pierces if I want to shove my combo. I don't think these things go together though. Like, I have some 1 mana interaction. I like Vexing Bauble. I don't think I really need to Needle this matchup. I mean, Wasteland. Yeah, Wasteland's always going to be the thing about Needle. Portable Hull can clear Null Rods. And Mox Opal, another matchup not entirely about speed, and I am comfortable cutting Mox Opals in it. I'm just going to go super light here. 2 more 1 mana pieces of interaction and try to do my thing. This is a very similar hand to what I started with last game. I'll keep it here too. We have a line to Vault Key and we have some interaction. And relying heavily on Academy for mana. Vexing Bauble. Played around it. My deck has like 35 zeros. I'm holding 0 of them. The most important 0 of all. Saga. Soul Ring. Haywire Might. Storm is 3. Alright, the buddy's in play. Psychic Frog. Okay, here we go. Frog Gaming. No cards in the graveyard right now, so it can't fly. I could just block. And I'm going to have constructs to do that with. Backup Saga. Okay, if I play Tolarian Academy, I have Spell Pierce available. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Spell Pierce up than get the second Saga cranking. And I'm just going to leave Haywire Might chillin' right now. I will have a 3/3 I can block with. Have to discard half of your hand. To beat me in combat, you'd have to discard 3/4 of your hand and then exile your graveyard to draw a card. Cycling Lurrus revealed. My deck doesn't do that. Once again, though, that's a land that's not Wasteland. And it is in play. Okay, Construct. I'm definitely going to block. Okay. Well, I held up this Spell Pierce for a reason. We're getting paid. I could even pay for a Spell Pierce back. And now it would cost your whole hand to survive this combat with the frog. Said in the chat, everything's gone horribly wrong. I said my hand didn't care about Bobble at all. That is giving away information, though. And if he just cracks Bobble, gets another card in hand, could unlock a Force of Will on this, could just discard 2 cards, make Frog bigger, jump Frog, try to stabilize next turn. There's still plenty of options available to my opponent, even with just the tricks I can see. But if he does crack Bobble, digging for material with Frog, he's saying in chat right now, he's been finding out about the card that he keeps dying to his own Bobble. Yep. Could sack it, force me back. I think, so right now there's actually an interesting decision because we're not in blocks yet. If opponent is going to discard his hand to win the combat anyway, should just do it now and give the frog flying. Okay, yep. Found the correct line. Leaving 1 card in the hand still. And the frog gets to start redrawing. Oh, still doing the thing over there. If I draw a black source, I can make Vault Key. Oh, Time Walk's pretty messed up, though. Okay. Lurrus Saga. Do I just want to Mox Opal and set up the future? If I get Mox Opal, that's very on. Gives me all the colors. I can attack for 6, then walk, then crush for 1,000,000 more. I could also get Lurrus. I have plenty of mana. 5 blue in the pool. Time Walk. We're going to get a scoop to this. All right, cracking the Bobble in response, which unlocks a bunch of stuff that my deck does, but also unlocks Force of Will right now, which is really good. Okay. I can outcome over the top of this, pick up 3 cards. Damage has already been done. If I find a counter spell now, I can cast it. And worst case scenario, my walk gets countered and I just play all these permanents back out. Found Force, but no blue card. Fine, fine, fine. You did it. Can I make Vault Key this turn? I think I'm short on mana. But the key is here now, and DT is the Vault. Okay, no blue cards. It's fine. Just have to rebuild the old-fashioned way. Replay Opal. Replay Soul Ring. Manifold Key. Key can untap Soul Ring, which kind of makes the key free, which is actually good here, because I do have 3 mana worth of stuff I'd like to do. It's going to get the Vault. Put opponent in check again. Or Time Vault. I said the right word. I rarely do that. Time Vault into my hand and Haywire Might onto the board. Okay, pass. And this turn is a great example of why I like decks like this one more than I like decks like this one. Even though obviously Dimir Lurrus Saga is a proven excellent tier 1 vintage deck, they cast some spells, drew some cards, and then I just did a bunch of crazy cool vintage shit over the top of all that. And if I put Black Lotus in my deck, I don't want to use it to cast Psychic Frog. I want to use it to cast Vault Key or Coveted Jewel or Oath of Druids plus Time Walk. There's no reasonable case in the world to shit on Dimir Lurrus. Deck's busted, but also I'm doing vintage stuff. Opponent has 1 card in hand. I can hardcast Force of Will over the top of this Time Vault because Tolarian Academy is messed up. Play my land, play my Emerald. They're also just dead in combat if I don't do anything. I'll just start there. Attack. Orcish Bowmaster, sure. You can enjoy that on your way to the graveyard. Killing my Haywire Might. Might as well take out the Lurrus Saga. That also fizzles the blocker. Could have also forced that to win. There's so many lines here. I could do whatever I want. I'm just playing with my food. And then did not block. Make a construct. Goes back to a lethal attack. when I activated the saga, he said it's literally on board. GG's, and I mean, maybe I'll watch this video later and just see that not only was it on board, but it was also in hand. Then it was also in hand. This was so not really competitive at the end, but good stuff. On to the next round. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the draw in round 3, and I accidentally clicked through revealing my companion, something that I have joked about. Don't forget to do that 100 times on this channel, and I just did it. I'm against Montolio, who is a known shops expert. Again, the mana is rough. The mana's been surprisingly bad here across all the games, which obviously, like I've mentioned, Gobi was aware of by playing all these 5-color lands, but even with those, I've had trouble casting my spells. And unless my opponent is all in on something that loses to Portable Hole, I think I have to mulligan this. All right, this one's way better. I'll keep this. Probably bottom Haywire Might and try to do a fast Oswald thing. Lurrus Saga. Pithing Needle. Please name Bazaar Baghdad. I didn't reveal Lurrus, so that's really funny. Okay. Mana Confluence, Mox Emerald, Oswald Fiddlebender. Bend that fiddle. And what's extra funny is because I didn't reveal Lurrus, my opponent's also... Montolio is a former Eternal Weekend Vintage champ, excellent Vintage player. He's going to be thinking that I have Tinker for Bolas the Citadel or something available in my deck. That's going to be sick. Ancient Tomb. How far down the fiddle hole can we get here? Lurrus Saga, get in there. Mox Emerald, play Sensei's top. I could just dump top into Time Vault right now and then have my opponent in check. This Lurrus Saga has me a little worried. If there's a second Pithing Needle in the deck, then I have not actually solved the problem. Also, there's no top tricks to do with Oswald. Activate as a sorcery. I can't like tap top in response, weld it out, or fiddle it out, I guess. I'm not spending this mana anyway. I could just take a peek with top. Merchant Scroll, Psychic Frog, Soul Ring. I could cast Frog next turn. Soul Ring turns on Paradoxical Outcome. If I fiddle, I lose all this, basically. This is really interesting. Do I want to move on to this Paradoxical Outcome? Because Ancient Tomb makes me feel like he's not a blue deck. Didn't play a lock piece yet. Yeah, I actually think I want to put this Soul Ring on top of my deck and just pass the turn. Which might be a waste of an Oswald, but with this Needle, or with this Lurrus Saga representing Needle, that is already shown to be in the deck. I kind of want to just pivot on to doing something different ahead of what my opponent could predict I'm doing and begin to act about. Because even if he ends up needling Oswald, at least I didn't sacrifice a powerful permanent like Sensei's top to get Time Vault, which then also just gets needled. I still have access to the top. And I can PO for 5 cards next turn. If I pick up this Soul Ring, the Emerald, the top, I tap the top, and then PO in response plus Oswald, that's 5. So a Shops deck wouldn't need a Wasteland, so I don't really know what my opponent's doing right now. Okay, I mean, maybe it is just Shops, but had Strip Mine and was worried about Wasteland, that makes sense. Do you want to take out my Colored Source or my Lurrus Saga? That might not do anything before you kill me with combat. Tight decision. Tap for 5 first. Take out my Mana Confluence. Does that stop me from doing what I want to do? Emerald, cast Soul Ring. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I could still do everything I was going to do next turn. Though that might not actually be any good. Soul Ring is here. Play the ring. Glimmer Void. Do I want to draw 5 cards or 4, leaving the Oswald in play? Psychic Frog, Merchant Scroll are the top 2 cards in my deck at this moment. That 5th card could be the Black Lotus or something that breaks all of my cards free. Or the 5th card could be the Manifold Key, where I wish I had Oswald in play to fiddle up. I think I'm going to leave Oswald in play. Draw a card in response. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna draw 4 cards here, and I know what 2 of them are gonna be. Yep, we've got a Force of Will and another Mana Confluence added to the pile. That was not very good. Soul Ring, top, activate top, balance. Let's do it. Okay. I will float balance on top of my deck. And 5, 10, 11. I'm not dead. I actually have them dead next turn if they don't kill me. All right, yeah, you got 4 cards in your hand. I have Force of Will. I have a blocker. Nettle Cyst. That's fine. That wasn't fine. That created lethal. Not great. It does get balanced away, though. Okay, immediately move the Nettle Cyst onto a bigger creature. Yeah, I probably wanted to force that. My bad. Okay, block, I go to 2. I balance all their shit away next turn. I balance, and I'm going to float with Saga and get... I could get Haywire Might, exile Lurrus Saga. There's 2 cards in hand over there, 2 lands. So we're going to wash out on lands. You're going to lose all your creatures. I'm going to lose most of my hand. Oh, but if I get Haywire Might, then I don't actually take out Saga. Yeah, I think I should just get Key and try to work my way to the exit. Manifold Key. And then... Oh, if I balance before playing my land, I lose an extra card from hand, but opponent loses an extra land. If I just balance now, what would I keep in my hand? I could spin top and then make a decision. Or I could keep Merchant Scroll. Or I can't play Frog first and discard my hand, unfortunately, because A, I can't cast Frog with the mana I have, and also balance, and B, that would leave them with a creature that would be probably bigger than Frog, or at least compete with Frog. I think I'd rather have more cards in my hand to make decisions with. I could also spin top first and see if Mana Voltage is there, or Time Voltage is there, and then I win. Okay. Mana is not really my gate this turn. Opal, Caracas. These cards are not exciting. So if I flip top into Opal, that does fix my colors into being able to balance Merchant Scroll for Ancestral Fire it. How big is their creature actually going to be? Because they lose these 2. Patches O'Houlihan is a 2/2 at base. It would have plus 1, 2, 3. This would be a 5/5. Why is it so big right now? What am I thinking? What am I doing wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing a power and toughness somewhere. Am I not counting the Nettle Cyst? Oh, I'm not counting itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there it is. That's the 9. They lose 2 of them, so this would be a 7. And still way bigger than Psychic Frog, so the line to get their hand empty doesn't really play. I could Merchant Scroll top again, and then make a decision. Okay, I'm gonna go 1, 2, Merchant Scroll, and then activate top. You get Ancestral Recall. By floating mana, activate top. Does this matter? This is a really hard turn. I know this is engaging television right now. Ataxian Probe, Paradoxical Outcome. I like Paradoxical Outcome as a follow-up here. It's a nice way to reload. Can't really afford to probe. Oh, now I lose a life. I go to 1. I forgot I was at 2. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to balance, leaving Ancestral Recall and Psychic Frog in my hand. Okay. Hope you can't come up with 1 point of haste or burn Walking Ballista. GG. The Saga has me in check. Probably made that turn into a bit of a disaster. It's just supposed to force the Nettle Cyst last turn. Chalice on 1. How about you chill the fuck out, man? Frankly. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Untap Soul Ring, because I'm going to pick this up anyway. 4, 5, 6. PO. Leaving green in the pool. It's a lot of 1-drops. All 1-drops and me at 1 life. At 3 life, I could play Psychic Frog. Alright. I'm sure I messed that up somewhere. I feel like I had the pieces there, but Mana Confluence not free. I was supposed to force Nettle Cyst. Okay. Playing against shops. Urkel's Recall comes in. Mental Misstep comes out. Swords of Plowshares is reasonable. I'll think about it. Consigned to Memory seems great. Misstep, Probe. Portable Hold did have some hits, including that Chalice of the Void, but the Chalice would have been on 1. Haywire Might's good. Vexing Bauble on the play is tempting, but I have so many good cards coming in, I'm not going to mess around with that. I don't think I'm going to Yogg-Will this opponent. Outcomes and Opals. Just being on the play is so big. I'm going to shave 1 Opal, but not 2, and I'm going to shave 1 Hole. Could bring in Force of Negations and Spell Pierces. Is there anything worse than Spell Pierce here? No, I think I'm just going to try to go fast. Dang. This hand makes a lot of mana, but that mana does cast Lurrus, but then I don't do anything. All right, I'll keep. Did I do a Wasteland? Send me to hell. Because I can Pithing Needle Wasteland. We're not without hope here. Ruby, Opal, Might. Let's see if we get Mindbreak trapped here. There is a pause. Okay, got Mindbreak trapped. That's fine. Manifold Key. Want to trap me again? Pithing Needle. And I'm going to name Wasteland. Okay. The Mindbreak trap stopped me from being able to get Lurrus this turn. Let's see if he's got the 1-off Strip Mine again. I can get and cast Lurrus. The problem is that Lurrus isn't doing anything right now. It's just a 3/2 lifelink. Null Rod. I'm going to counter that. And now I'm all in. Mox Emerald. Chalice on 0. Pretty good. Okay. Get Lurrus. Black. Untap. White. Colorless. Lurrus. All in, baby. So Time Vault is the best draw. Demonic Tutor, Vamp Tutor, Oswald are all lines 2 Time Vault. Opponent's got 2 big creatures in play. Haywire Might is kind of nuts. All right, let's go. Find that action. Look at my top 3 cards. Perks and DT. Does the DT win here? I think so. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, 6. DT is 2 of it. Yeah, okay. We're good. 6 mana. Draw a card. Demonic Tutor. Please don't have another Mindbreak trap. I could take a turn off to play around it, but I'm not a coward. At Eternal Weekend, I'd probably take the turn off, but I don't want him to draw a Null Rod in between. Cool. All right, we did it. Okay, now I'm on the draw. Forces of Negation, I think, are added here. Portable Hole back now that we've confirmed Null Rod. And Portable Hole also exiles Germ tokens and patches of Houlihan's, so it's probably fine. Do I need 2 Manifold Keys in this matchup? That does just give me half of my combo more often. I could see Psychic Frog actually being kind of bad here. I mean, if I get locked out, if my opponent's draw is like Chalice of the Void, 2 Null Rods and a Mindbreak trap, I'm going to wish I had Psychic Frogs more than anything. But if they just put creatures on the board with some light permission, I care way less about that. But Psychic Frog plays into extremely well the plan of having 6 spot removal spells in my deck with the Portable Holes and the Plows. Maybe on the draw I should cut these Spell Pierces. Those probably won't find much of a home. Okay, I'm going to try this. This hand. I don't think I could keep this against shops anyway, but it also just doesn't make colored mana. So I have to mull it anyway. Opponent also mulliganed, I appreciate it. Okay, I have a quick Psychic Frog here and a Herx. I'm going to keep this in bottom PO. My worry about this hand is Chalice on 1 or Null Rod, both of which also make PO worse. So thinking about, like, do I play around Null Rod by binning one of these instead of the PO just doesn't really hold. I could also bottom Psychic Frog and say that Herx will answer Null Rod or the other thing, then I could just combo. I think PO is the one that asks the most of things to go right, where Psychic Frog is my backup plan. Thorn of Amethyst, annoying. Psychic Frog's a creature, though. Check the record, I'm pretty sure. Okay, what's the follow-up? Tolarian Academy, 4 mana available. Crucible, uh-oh. That's a someday problem. Now I have a really interesting conundrum of I could just play Psychic Frog, or I could play Sol Ring and Sensei's Top. I think I'm just going to play Psychic Frog, though. This is the one that flips the script the hardest. Like, if you start strip locking me, I'll just bash for 5 a turn and draw some extra cards. Wasteland. And Wastelock has happened. Second Crucible. Okay. Yeah, this is a game where Psychic Frog's going to take over, if there ever was one. I believe I should just attack first to make the most informed decision with my options. Mox Opal. I get to dump out so many things this turn. This is going to be great. Okay, Soul Ring. Tap Soul Ring for Ruby. Use a colorless for Opal. Cast top. Now Frog is smaller, but I also don't care that I'm waste locked. But they're still incentivized to waste me because my land is Lurrus Saga. Okay, that's done. Now we're frogging with millions of mana. Another Saga. I'm going to attack with Frog and spin top in response to the draw card trigger. Just make sure the Frog gets in before I'm worried about anything else. I can Demonic Tutor here. I can also PO here. Oh, PO sucks though because of Thorn. Alright, yeah, I'll take the DT. What do I want to do with this tutor? Probably just Ancestral. Saga, Demonic Tutor, cost 3. Ancestral Recall, cost 2. I have all that. This just keeps Frog big and keeps my options up. Sick. Balance and a bunch more lands. Probably not going to balance this game. I like the imbalance that we're currently experiencing. Phyrexian Metamorph, okay. I copy my Frog. I think this is a spot where I can jump my Frog, get opponent to discard their hand to jump their Frog, and then have a giant Hurkyl's Recall blowout. A Merchant Scroll can get Paradoxical Outcome. All right, Herx is 1, 2, 3. Then it's 2 for Scroll. Yeah, I'm a long way away from all that. I think I'm going to play Urza's Saga first, because that's my worst mana source. Exile, Saga, Saga, Confluence from my graveyard. And now if opponent wants to block my Frog, it's going to have to discard 2 cards first, and then jump the Frog to block, which doesn't even make sense because the Frog still loses combat. Consigned to Memory, sick. Now I have Swords to Plowshares, or the big Herc blowout. I could just do both. I don't have to do anything here. If I 1, 2, 3 Merchant Scroll for PO. Now I have Herx in the bank. I don't have double blue. I might have messed up. I think I have to let Frog hit me. Oh, if they wasteland me, it's not going to matter. Okay. Never mind. Let's hope they go to combat before making the land drop. Yeah, I got a little greedy with the Merchant Scroll. I should have just left up Plow and Herx. Maybe I'll just Plow here and then go to my turn and Herx. This Plow costs 2, and I'm not worried about wasteland then. It did go to the pre-combat Swords to Plowshares. 4 cards in hand over there. We have no indication how many of them might be lands because land hits come out of the graveyard every turn. I need to draw something that goes plus mana in order to PO this turn effectively. But I have top +2 draws to make that happen. Mana Crypt goes plus mana. Okay. I'm going to attack with Frog first. That draws me Karakas. And then if I Herx, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana still left, and I can redump my hand. Herc you, Mana Crypt, sandbag my land drop, draw. Could Mindbreak Trap here. How bad would that be for me? I think it's fine. Okay, Mindbreak Trap, still fine. I draw a card for a top. It's Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to play this Mana Confluence because that casts Consigned to Memory. And if I counter the first artifact that comes down this turn, then Academy doesn't work. Still, good chance there's a land in hand, but I could fend off the wasteland and just keep Psychic Frog doing frog shit. Yeah, I think I should have just not played my land, attacked with Frog past the turn with the intent of herking them in the end step, and that plays around Mindbreak Trap. Crucible, I'm going to counter that. Was there a land in hand? Nope. Okay, cool. Yeah, Psychic Frog just soloed versus a strip lock. That is a good showcase of the other half of this deck. On to the next round. We're still undefeated. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the play for round number 4. I have another hand that does not make mana that casts my spells. How many blue sources am I playing? Can I count on Cataxian Probe plus draw step to get there? Let's have a look. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is Mox Opalon? It is, so that's 13, 14. Math isn't good there. Lurrus doesn't do anything here. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, this hand does stuff. I'm going to keep this. I have to decide what's going to the bottom. I think I just have to keep every artifact because of Opal. And then do I want to try to balance this opponent or walk them? I'm going to bottom balance. We've got Petal, Opal, spend 2 mana, make 2 mana, get Haywire Might. And I could walk now or just hold up Spell Pierce going into next turn. I'm going to Pierce their turn 1 and then see how things look after that. This hand doesn't actually have a plan, but it does cast spells. Mox Jet. I'm not in a spot where I'm excited about spell piercing that. Chrome Mox. Oh, interesting. I think it's too late to spell pierce that, but Chrome Mox might indicate that I was supposed to pierce that Mox Jet. Yep, where it gets white, and now they might not play a single card that could be spell pierced in the whole match. That was rough. Boromir, Warden of the Tower. If no mana is spent to cast a spell, counter it, and it can make their creatures indestructible. Okay. Okay. Spell Pierce. Found a home. Maybe. And certainly not the best one. Though I couldn't actually stop Boromir from coming into play with what I had, regardless. Let's draw some bangers. Mana Confluence, not a banger, but not horrendous either. That does let me grab Lurrus, take a time walk, and then go to my next turn with a Lurrus around. Should I start denying their mana? No, because then a player in Academy isn't reliable anymore. Sol Ring has appeared. I've got access to 3 blue here. I need white and black, or white, or black, to cast Lurrus. I can play Sol Ring. I can cash out Lotus Petal to deny the Chrome Mox, and then I can replay Lurrus or Haywire Might from the graveyard. I can replay Lotus Petal, however, it immediately gets countered by Boromir. But I can slowly run them out of mana over the next 3 turns. Never mind. Please don't have Seasoned Engineer in your hand. I hate Magic. They're tapping 4. There's only 1 card that could ever be. Okay. Now we need a banger pretty quick. And Boromir has Vigilance. It's a soldier. That is not one of the things that triggers Seasoned Engineer. Okay, our attacking. I think Lurrus is worth more than this thing. It has Vigilance, so they're not really in any danger here. Mental Misstep. A hilariously unhelpful card here. Exile this Mox Jet, I guess. Replay Haywire Might. And slowly die. In a paradoxical outcome here does draw me a bunch of cards. Ancestral Recall draws me a bunch of cards. Oswald could get something started. But I am running out of time. They're going down the Forge. Their creature's going to be huge. Gonna blast me next turn. Boromir's a 5/5 now. Could also just chump Boromir with Haywire Might, but then that turns off Mox Opal. I think that's fine, though. Chrome Mox is revealed from the Explorer. Boromir doesn't trample. This is a fine way to absorb damage. Opal's turned off, but I can replay Might with the Lurrus and the Sol Ring. Another Opal, perfect. Haywire Might redeploy. And pass. I take 5 this turn, or they can goad my Lurrus. Did not goad my Lurrus, which I actually think would have been a reasonable play here. White Plume Adventure, this goes straight into drawing a card. I'm going to need a big combo nonsense finish here. A Bauble, I can misstep that. I'll take that value wherever I can get it. Seasoned Dungeoneer explores a backup Boromir. I think we're going to see that go to the graveyard. I can block and sack this turn. Take out the Emerald. Just kind of choosing Moxen at random here. I don't think any of them matter except for Pearl. You get to untap Seasoned Engineer in the upkeep, and they're in the Throne of the Dead 3 next turn. Oswald. Well, if there is a way out of this, Oswald might be involved. I wish I saw him 3 turns ago, but he's here now. They're entering the Throne of the Dead 3. This is a lot of looks at Solitude. 10 cards revealed. White Plume Adventure, Anointed Peacekeeper, Witch Enchanter, Archon of Emeria. I think if they Witch Enchanter my Soul Ring, I can't win. If they Archon of Emeria, I have to draw exactly Manifold Key. I guess Key or Vault both do it. Okay, they went with White Plume Adventure, speeding back through the dungeon. It actually seems like the least worrisome hit to me between the things that disrupt me, or yeah, between the options that disrupt me. That was an interesting choice. Strip Mine, shit, that was their draw. All right, never mind. Now I'm just screwed because I have to block with Haywire Might to be alive. Or Lurrus also has lifelink though. I want to leave Opal on. Seasoned Engineer triggers. Yeah, if I knew this matchup was White Initiative, I would have just Spell Pierced the Mox Jet on turn 1. Just try to deny them a little bit of mana, but can't know that till it's happened. Okay, so I have to block 4 or 5. I actually have to block with 2 creatures. Or no, Lurrus's lifelink will wash this out. Okay. I'm going to block Seasoned Engineer so they can't sack Boromir and stuff the lifelink. And I'm just going to try to leave Mox Opal on and give myself a chance to draw exactly Vault or Key. Okay, I have outs. Come on, deck. Paradoxical outcome. I mean, I can't replay Mox Opal. If I tutor Opal into Key, that doesn't help. I could just send this. What does that do? Yeah, Boromir is just locking me. There's 2 options here. It's cast it, see what happens, or don't cast it, hide the fact that I'm a PO deck. I have too many creatures. I can't balance. There's no artifact I can spin up here that keeps me alive for a turn. Okay, I think I'm dead. Boromir too good. We had a shot at it without Boromir. Okay, Plow's coming in. Consigned to Memory coming in. Mindbreak Trap I don't hate. 2 Spell Pierces and Mental Misstep. A bunch of cards we drew that game coming right out. You'll love to see it. Opal can back off. And not Manifold Key. That's not what I wanted. What did I want? One of the Needles or a Sensei's Top? Sensei's Top's an interesting item in this matchup because I don't want the game to get to a spot where I need the selection of Sensei's Top to stay competitive. But also, they are a deck that puts me to low resources where one big card could break it open. I think I'm just going to do this. I'll leave the top in there and cut a Needle. Okay, this is... I can Vamp and Walk on turn 1 into what? I wish I had Tinker in my deck right now. Probably Ancestral Recall. Try to load up. This hand does get punished by Mindbreak Trap, Jet, Emerald, Confluence, Walk. Seems like everything's just resolving though. Opponent's F6. Okay, Ancestral Recall. Probably the best thing I could do here, or I could just put Oswald into play and try to win over the next several turns. I could get Psychic Frog, but that's not protected by anything. This could be a sick balance. I would have to sack my land. They would have to discard 5 cards. No, it's too early for that. But I do like it. Okay, I'm going to get Ancestral. And go into my second turn. That's still also my first turn. Try to find some action. Alright, I mean, that's action. 1, 2, 3, get Lurrus. I've got Force of Will up. I can PO for 2 next turn, and I can plow any of their middle-of-the-road creatures. Mox Pearl. Black Lotus. Vexing Bauble, you son of a biscuit. I'm going to let that resolve. I have Swords of Plowshares that can challenge creatures if they just play like Archon right here. White Plume Adventurer. I guess my PO becomes really bad if the Bauble's in play, even if I don't care about the Force. I'm also like at a point where I can hardcast Force. Okay, They made an initiative creature and passed. Portable Hole can clear Vexing Bauble. And then I'm representing Hardcast Force of Will. If they pop the Bauble to draw a card in response, I can PO for an additional one and reset the hole. Yeah, I'm going to take a turn off to do this. It's not really a turn off, I guess. If they draw the card, I'm doing more, and I still have my land drop up. And they are going for the draw. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. PO with a blue floating. Hit a bunch of stuff that I cannot cast with my mana. Or no, I have Demonic Tutor. Okay, never mind. DT, what do you do? DT for Time Vault, try to win next turn. Okay, DT for Time Vault. Play the key, hold up Force of Will, pass. I can force once, I have the win on board. Or not on board. I have the win half on board and half in my hand. Yeah, they've decided to scry 2 rather than push damage. They realize the situation they're in. Top bottom. Found something they think helps. Chrome Mox. Pitching Anointed Peacekeeper, which does actually... No, it doesn't. That doesn't help at all. And it helps a little bit. Vexing Bauble, dang. Well, I'm not going to force that when I just am already unable to force. All right, they forgot to attack. Probably means they're spiraling out. Black Lotus, unfortunate draw. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. I could do the thing again where I portable hold the Vexing Bauble. Yeah, I mean, that's just free to do because the Academy remakes this mana anyway. Zap the Bauble. Drawing a card. Cool. Black Lotus. Make a bunch of mana. Make a bunch of white. Lurrus. Lurrus replays Lotus, so this is just money in the bank. And now I can vault. And I'm holding up Hardcast and Pitchcast Force of Will. Sweet. Okay. Now we got to get one on the draw. I think my plan is still my plan. I don't like Force of Negation for the matchup. The rest of these cards are only worse on the draw, and they're not even that good on the play. I guess with the baubles in the deck, Herx might be better than some stuff like Yogg will. Because the baubles have gotten me a couple times, and that might just be me not adjusting to it correctly, and clearly Herx is for that, and then I cut my own baubles. Oh, well, I'm on the draw, so the baubles have to go out anyway. I'm not convinced Yogg will is a good card. Containment Priest can jump in, and it affects the Throne of the Dead 3. It can also be a surprise splash creature to just challenge the initiative. I think that's better than Yawgmoth's Will. A card that I don't think is going to do what we need to in a prison matchup. Oof. I'm on the wall of interaction, but no real plan. I have Glimmervoid, no artifact. Yikes. This hand is bad. It does fend off the turn 1, but these are 2 lands that don't work. No, I have to mulligan this. I like the forest. I don't like anything else about it. This hand dies to Bauble, but is otherwise exciting. I'm going to keep and get rid of Hurkyl's Recall. All right, fingers crossed. Don't bauble me. And if you're going to bauble me, make it the 3rd spell. 1, 2, 3. Wasteland. 3 cards left. White Plume Adventurer. Is this what I need to fight over? If they follow up with a bauble, I'm actually more worried about that than this card being in play. All right, they can have this. It's just so devastating if they play bauble. 2 cards left, plus the planes they're about to tutor. Okay. This creature was also way worse than this creature. Patience Rewarded. Their last other card in hand is planes, which means they're not going to be casting anything else here. Okay. Can we recover? PO's a nice one. Ancestral. Wasteland's in play, which means this Time Vault is a little... I'm going to run out the Saga and play the Vault. And they have to Wasteland the Saga because it represents GG. I'm protecting my colored source because I need Glimmervoid for this hand to do anything. They're in the Lost Well, scrying 2. Don't feel confident in their ability to kill me at this point. Top, yikes. Okay, shit. You hate when the mono white deck, who's behind against the combo deck, just tops a scry 2. Sony Silence. Heckin' A. Yeah, I would have kept that too. Okay, so I have to draw exactly Portable Hole. Even Herx doesn't clear the Stony Silence. Force of Will right on time. I hate my life. Okay, passing the turn. It's funny because they can make a treasure here that's turned off by their own Stony Silence, or they can go nothing. Neither one of those is inspiring. They're also playing on 1 mana, but they have the initiative. Yeah, moving across to this means they can draw an extra card next turn, which is a better path to be on. Strip Mine. Yikes. Okay, and we're in the classic, just completely miserable initiative game where they have nothing going on. They have 1 mana, but the initiative's ticking, so we're going to lose. Basic Island, okay. Probably among the top draws in my deck at this point. I've already spent my Ancestral Recall, so I don't really know what my plan out of this is. I guess I have to hope the Throne of the Dead 3 is bad, and then we're still playing somehow. Okay, they gave themselves the option to draw a card, then made the Spooky Skeleton instead. Keep the pressure up. Makes sense. Probably better than a random card. Vexing Bauble. Holy smokes. Well, I'm going to force this because I have no path into this game with that card in play, and the Force of Will is pretty bad. They played Witch Enchanter as the land mode. Psychic Frog. Almost good, except I have no mana. Throne of the Dead 3. If this is even remotely good, I'll probably just concede. Loran, Witch Enchanter. I mean, that's 2 of the same card. I guess neither of these impact the board at all other than adding power and toughness to it. Yep, sure. There's Loran. Gonna kill Time Vault. They're still casting spells. Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna win this one. Stony Silence, too good. Psychic Frog has arrived. They have 9 power on board. Okay. Alright, Psychic Frog. Get to work. I needed you 4 turns ago, but that's okay. This is another example of a game where Psychic Frog would have taken over if it was castable. And obviously, Wasteland, Strip Mine, plus Stony Silence. How could any deck do anything? But this is a spot where Psychic Frog would have been great a few turns earlier. Never mind, they're playing Anointed Peacekeeper. Alright, we can never win this game. GG's. On to the final round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record locked for Bread and Butter 4-1 on the line. We're against BPK, another Eternal Weekend Vintage Championship winner. This has been a stacked league, as many Vintage Online leagues are. I'm going to keep this in. Okay, I'm going to make white because it doesn't matter. Got him. Manifold Key, untap the vault, and I'm going to Needle Wasteland because this game doesn't work if I lose this Mana Confluence. Might not be in the deck, but I'm going to pick it up with PO anyway. And I could grab Lurrus, but I'd rather have my mana up to PO with next turn. This turn 2 PO with Force Backup was kind of the whole plan here. A Tundra. Ruby. Jet. It's a lot of power. Thieving Skydiver. No. Okay. We dodged. I'd love a 0 mana artifact that makes this PO better. That's, I think, my best draw here. Not that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Untap the vault. Get a little extra floating. Outcome for 3. A lot worse that my Time Walk's gone, but here we go. Okay. Didn't really get anywhere on that. I can put this Mox Jet in a hole. And Lurrus has to be here, right? Key. Opal. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, I can. Can I cast Lurrus? Okay, untap the vault. A little extra in the tank. Get Lurrus. I could cast Lurrus, or I could play Portable Hole and try to knock out some of this mana. If Portable Hole's the only unknown left in the hand, do I want to put Lurrus into play when she doesn't do anything? Or do I want to restrict my opponent a little bit? Okay, I think I'm just going to put Lurrus into play. Do I need to Pithing Needle? No, I was about to say, do I need to Pithing Needle deck Faden? And literally, no, they're a Lurrus deck. Okay. Needle what? I think I'm just going to hold the Needle because I don't know what the deck is at this point, and now it's a lot more important than it was on turn 1 when I was just going to pick it up anyway. Soul Ring. Okay. Grabbing Lurrus as well. We're Lurrus gaming.
The Lurrus player with Thieving Skydiver in their graveyard's doing a lot better, though, than me, who's doing nothing. Caracas, Jesus. I'm just locked. Middle lock. I can Manifold Key the Vault here to avoid taking one, but I'd rather draw for turn. Okay. Yogwill has been an embarrassing pile of shit this whole league, but it just may have just found something to do. That's not fair to Yogwill. I'm being harsh, but it has not really come up as a useful thing yet. And I have 3. This is 4. I can will with 1 floating, 2, 3. So I have to will next turn. An opponent can 1, 2, 3, Lurrus, 1, 2. Yeah, can kick the Skydiver next turn. I think this is a good time to put Mox Jet in a hole or Soul Ring. Okay, 1, 2, 3, Lurrus, 1, 2. Soul Ring takes more mana off the board. I'm going to go with that. And I'm not going to replay Lurrus. I am going to Needle something. Just this is to build up with the PO. I'm going to Needle Caracas. Okay. This is a big setup turn. Hope opponent doesn't kick me into the dirt in the interim. Mox Pearl. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Taking out the Mox Jet would not have stopped Skydiver from diving on me, and I was not able to stop it anyway. We'll see what opponent wants to take. Because I could just tap the Mana Vault in response, then opponent is stuck with a tapped Mana Vault. Might just want to go after something more stable like the Sapphire or the Opal. Okay, here's the Diver. Can I interest you in a portable hole? I cannot. Alright, you got my Manifold Key. Turn any number of non-token permanents you control. Bummer. Wish that said you own. Okay, another Needle. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I have exactly enough right now because I lost my key that also took 2 mana off the board. Wait, black. 2, 3, 4. Will. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pick up everything, including the portable hole. You can have your Soul Ring back. I don't care. You already did the stupid thing with it. Okay. I found Ancestral Recall and another outcome. Those are both places to go. And guess what? There's a cool trick I could do here where I get my Manifold Key back. Mana Vault. Portable Hole. Exile Manifold Key. Pick Portable Hole back up with PO. I could spend my land drop to get extra cards here, but Tolarian Academy is in my deck somewhere. This is 5 cards basically for free, and I have Ancestral still in the bank. Okay. Let's do that. I got my key back. That was a fun play. I'm sure people who grind Vintage all the time knew about that one, but first time coming up for me. Okay. I can balance and discard 150 cards, but it does kill Lurrus and Skydiver. I have 2 holes in my hand at this point. I think I should just cast this Ancestral Recall and see what happens. Time Vault? Demonic Tutor? Oh, Time Vault, straight up. Okay. Mox Jet, cast Mana Vault. Mana Vault, cast Time Vault. Thanks for keeping that key warm for me. And I have Force Blue card with the Psychic Frog. Okay. Yeah, this deck certainly has a crazy low blue count for Force. That's come up multiple times, and the access to colored mana has come up multiple times, but we're also just winning a lot more than we're losing, so not quite sure what to make of all that yet. I'll make some decisions in the final wrap-up. We're against some 4-color Lurrus pile. The BPK special. It's probably a Breach deck. Why else would there be red mana in there? Seems like a really good matchup for Spell Pierce. We saw Thieving Skydiver. Ugh. What do I do with that information? I don't think there's anything that important to Pithing Needle here. And I can consign to memory Skydiver's kicker trigger. Portable Hole seems really good against Lurrus decks. By definition, if it's a permanent in their deck, I can exile it. Lurrus herself notwithstanding. Yogwill finally earned its spot at the table. Mox Opal can come out for a plow. I think a second. Though, I was just talking about how I've had color issues, and decks that play a lot of Mox Opals, I've played a ton of them. I've probably made $20,000 in my life playing Mox Opal in my deck. And you're supposed to be able to board them out. So if the mana base relies on Mox Opal being in your deck, that might be a deck building issue. I'm going to continue boarding them out cavalierly, despite being aware of the colored meta issues. I don't think this is a Vexing Bauble matchup either. I think that hurts me more than it helps. Do I need this many plows? Maybe I'll leave one bauble in to tutor 4 if it makes sense. Because it hasn't come up yet, but bauble plus paradoxical outcome is insane, because you could target the bauble with your paradoxical outcome, and there is no timing window where bauble is not in play for them to force of will your PO, but then you get to pick up the bauble, draw a card, and redrop all your zeros. Hey, this is a lot of mana, but is it good? Oswald, Time Walk with no additional plays, Spell Pierce. I am going to try this. There are matchups where I wouldn't consider this, but against Brian Kelly, his decks tend to be kind of fair, dirtily, let me do stuff, and then have one big payoff at some point. Okay, I think I want to Oswald walk. And if this Oswald gets forced, I'll just play the other one and save the walk. Didn't happen, okay. Time Walk. Okay, do we have Flusterstorm? Do we have Spell Pierce? Do I care? If it's Flusterstorm, obviously I can't do anything. If it's Spell Pierce, I could force, but I might not be worried about it. Ancestral Recall would have happened in my upkeep, so that's not happening now. Flusterstorm, okay. Can't interact with this, and hope that opponent's hand does not have Caracas in it, or else I am just obliterated. I'm not in good shape if I don't draw an artifact or mana source anyway, but Caracas just makes this really embarrassing. Ugh. Embarrassed. Soul Guide Lantern, okay. I mean, you did see Yogg-Will, that's fair. And my Lotus is gone, which makes Lurrus a lot worse, and this Caracas just puts me in the garbage. Holding up the Caracas, the most insulting thing you can do. Oswald is sorcery speed, and you can just respond to me casting an artifact. In for 2. Take it. Okay. I got in for 2. I'm not entitled to that, but I got it. And now the true nature of my hand is revealed. I was in pretty heavy on hoping that worked, and it didn't. Now I'm worried about Strip Mine and Wasteland. I can counter the next 2 spells opponent plays. Buy myself some time, depends on what's going on over there, really. Spirit of the Lab, you sicko. I'm going to force that pitching PO, because all of my ways out of this involve drawing cards. I'm glad all my plows are in. Manifold Key. Get it in. We're halfway there. You're on notice. You're dead in 2 turns. My draws are going to be Mana Vault into Time Vault. Vault theme deck coming in. A Time Walk from 2 mana with... Yeah, that was just a desperate trying to do anything Time Walk. I like those. Found a land. That was clearly the draw this turn, or else it would have happened on the walk turn. They just got Lurrus. Come on, Ancestral Recall. Get me back in here. Demonic Tutor is pretty damn good, though, because we know what that represents with my very next mana source. Now I have to decide, do I want to get Time Vault and just try to shove? Just cross my fingers and hope this works? Or do I want to get something like Ancestral Recall and try to overload the Lurrus? I'm just going to get Time Vault. I'm going to make this as boring as possible, because also if I draw a land or mana source next turn, I could Spell Pierce to protect the Vault, which will also set me back a turn, but lets me do my thing for at least one moment. Okay, opponent did not cast Lurrus, did not do anything. I am not going to just play into this Force of Negation. We can play Draw Go, because opponent knows that he is in check, and I suspect that he has a counterspell that costs mana, or else Lurrus would have just been played and then Force of Will me. I just got to build out some mana here and we'll be okay. Swords of Plowshares, not the solution. Something's happening in the end step. Might just be drawing a card. Yep, okay. Recognize that I probably did not DT for Yogg-Will. Gorilla Shaman. That's nasty. XX1. Okay, so I can plow this before it can kill my Manifold Key. That's a 3 mana play. Always count on Brian to play the hits. Okay, that worked. Pressure's off. Mox Ruby, okay. Mox Ruby. Time Vault. I have the Spell Pierce available. Force of Will, that does beat Spell Pierce, okay. Lurrus can still get that back at some point. We're not dead yet. That Force pitched, Brain Freeze, so Breach deck confirmed. The Lurrus is really dangerous because his Lurrus represents Soul Guide Lantern, which counters my Lurrus's long-term game plan. LOL. There's the Yogg-Will.
Okay, I'm gonna get Lurrus. This is really the only way out of this at this point. End step Cathar Commando. You maniac. You goddamn maniac. Okay, now I don't think I can win. And consigned to memory, no, that's an activated ability. Nope. Can never win. And the 5-color lands, in terms of just trying to make your combo happen as fast as possible to make your life total irrelevant, they're fine. In Storm decks used to play these before they figured out their fetch land mana base. But in a game like this one, where I'm getting nickel and dimed by this 3-1, and Lurrus is looming, and Spirit of the Lab is in there somewhere, this comes out to be a pretty big problem. I haven't been counting, but I feel like I've taken at least 3 damage from this Mana Confluence this game, which is a full turn off the clock from Cathar Commando. And plowing this isn't even a real answer, because just sacks it, kills the thing, and it's still in the graveyard for Lurrus. Psychic Frog, that might be a real answer to the game that we're playing. Okay, blue-black Psychic Frog on the stack. Resolved. It's a white deck, though. Could just kill it with Plow. Or Pyroblast. Ancestral Recall. That card's really good. If opponent attacks, I'm going to block and discard my Oswalds. Well, Black Lotus makes Lurrus just the full free and easy here. Solarian Academy. It's good for 1. Really, my only hope this game is that this Psychic Frog is just a full, insane, what the hell's going on here? How could this happen to me moment? And really has no answer to it. He's got everything else under control and 7 cards in hand and resolving an intuition right now. I wonder if he plays 2 Brain Freezes, because he pitched 1 earlier. Force of Will, Breach. Do I want you to have Force of Will in your hand? Is this Breach a trap? I mean, Breach could just time walk multiple times. Yeah, you can have Force of Will. Yeah, even the Fair Breach, just sack Lotus, play Lurrus. Lurrus plays Lotus, time walk 3 times, we're out of here. Had Savine's Wreck in hand. And me sitting on this handful of things that could have broken up this line, but I had to tap out for Frog. And my colorless mana doesn't help the massive mana pip requirement for this deck. Here's Lurrus. This has the free cast still, so they could Lotus for freezies once. Could Intuition again. Like, whatever the pile is, it has access. The Brain Freeze being in exile is the one exciting thing for me here. I think just taking 3 turns in a row here will probably get the job done. None of that answers Psychic Frog, though, which is potentially an 8-9 on this board. Refiring Intuition, let's go. At least we're getting a show. Dinner and a show around here. Something like Lightning Bolt would finish it off here. I'm at 7. Though, running out of cards to breach with. Felia, okay. I don't want you to have access to March of Otherworldly Light. That's the thing I'm most worried about. I guess I give you Felia. And March will happen out of the graveyard. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's exactly enough to clear that, and then I don't think it's worried about anything anymore. Lotus. Exactly 3 cards left to march with. And exactly 4 mana to do it with Spell Pierce still in my hand. I played Felia instead of March. March could still exile cards from the hand, so I guess that plays. Time Walk. Oh yeah, that just clears my Frog and deals 3, 6, 8 to me. Alright, yep, that works too. So many lines to victory there. Okay. Breach combo confirmed. Maybe I do want Vexing Bauble. I did not have all my Swords of Plowshares in. Now we've seen a bunch of extra creatures. Haywire Might's great. Spell Pierce actually is great if I could cast it. We've seen Soul Guide Lantern now. I think Yogg will did the thing it's going to do. Portable Hole, still good. Consigned to Memory can counter an Lurrus Saga, level up, or a Brain Freeze Storm trigger. That's what I'm really interested in. Felia trigger. Soul Guide Lantern, ETB trigger. We've seen Exile-based non-permanent removal as well, which means I do want 2 Manifold Keys. Do I cut an Oswald knowing that Caracas is in the deck? I cut both my Pithing Needles, which maybe the needle should be in. I think I'd rather play like this. Let's go. Okay, turn 1 Insano mode. I'm going to keep this. This is actually extremely fucked up opening hand. Black Lotus. Mana Crypt. Manifold Key. I could just balance now. Okay, if I untap Mana Crypt, play Vexing Bauble,
and then land balance. Opponent goes down to 1 card in hand, and I can play Lurrus next turn. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's some vintage magic. That's some cube magic. This is barely even part of vintage anymore, but I'm happy with it. Still a card legal in the format. Okay, I'm going to pass. I'm going to get and play Lurrus next turn, I think. Discarded Soul Ring, Vexing Bauble, Thieving Skydiver, Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, just cannot come back from that. The turn 1 victory. Okay, a 4-1 record in the books with this deck. I have some critiques for it because Gobi, if you'll recall, did specifically ask me to play the list as designed with no changes. 61 cards. Come on, we're a vintage deck. There are cards like Ancestral Recall and Time Vault and Black Lotus in your deck. Diluting drawing those cards by even the 1 out of 61%. Do we need 2 Spell Pierces main? Does Yogg-Will have to be in the list? I think we can find a cut here, and I don't think it would be that hard even. Maybe 1 Vexing Bauble to tutor for. I think it's Yogg-Will though. This just seems like we're just putting a massive... It's not even a cherry on top of the cake. It's a second small cake on top of the cake that already has many layers to it. I would cut Yogg-Will to get this down to 60. As far as the mana, it felt awful the whole time, but we also won a lot more than we lost. They're just like a hair's breadth on the draw against Mono White Initiative away from trophying this league. So maybe it works, but I also feel like we are taking some risks here with the construction. Though without Lorien Revealed or fetch lands, I wonder how all this lands. Like, how does this even work? Because the Lorien Revealed decks, not only is Lorien Revealed the reload once you have 5 mana, but it's a way to make Mana Crypt and your off-color Moxen into on-color cards. It would take more effort than I'm going to make right now in this wrap-up screen in this video, but I am not entirely sold on the 5-color land mana base. I think fetch land, dual land is well enough established. Like, we have the recipe at this point, especially with Lorien Revealed in the mix, and even more than just fetch lands and dual lands, I am specifically missing Lorien Revealed, because this deck has kind of a criminal blue count and to support Force of Will, and we had trouble having colored mana for the spells we want to cast multiple times. Basically every match it came up at least once. I think a fetch land, dual land, Lorien Revealed mana base probably will just suit this better. And that's not to say the deck's unplayable, because obviously we just did a lot more winning than losing with it, and I had a lot of fun, and the deck is great. However, we're talking about, like, if you're a baseball coach and you're running tryouts and 2 people can run the bases in the same amount of time, but one of them looks perfect when they do it and the other looks sloppy as hell when they do it, you take the sloppy person because you can train them to do it even faster, but the perfect person's already maxed out. I think that's what we're talking about. Like, we're running the bases just fine, but I think we can train this sloppy athlete to be even faster. And I think the sauce is in the mana base and that 61st card. I just don't think we need 2 Pithing Needles in the main. I don't think we need 2 keys. I don't think we need 2 Spell Pierces. I don't think we need Yogg-Will. That's immediately 4 cuts. That gets you down to 60. It gets you 2 Lorien Revealeds and an extra land. And then that extra land slot, that's 1, 5, 6, 7. Just some duels and fetches. And if you don't want to play the extra land, play 3 Lorien Revealeds. I don't know. Or keep one of the 2 ofs that you like. I think that will improve the deck, but Gobi, you have a very cool deck here. The Psychic Frog gear kicked in a couple times where we were otherwise locked out by Null Rod or lock pieces or whatever, and then Psychic Frog just became a huge problem. I do like a combo deck that has another angle, and this deck definitely checks that box. Gobi, thank you for sharing this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.